Every heartbeat of Earth seemed to echo across the galaxy. Every silent moment became a challenge, a puzzle that the aliens could not solve. Humans did not need to announce their presence. They did not need to boast of power. The galaxy's fear grew simply because Earth refused to speak. And then came the first real sign that humans were watching. An alien patrol ship, ignoring warnings, ventured too close to the outer orbit of Mars. Within minutes, their communications went silent. No distress signal, no explosion, only emptiness. When the Council tried to investigate, they found no wreckage, no bodies, no explanation. Only the ghost of a warning. Humanity had noticed, humanity had acted, and humanity could strike with precision no one understood. Across the stars, every alien commander and ambassador began to realize the same thing. The silence of Earth was not weakness, it was a warning, and the humans, patient and watchful, were waiting for the right moment to show the galaxy exactly how powerful they were. Captain Aria Vance felt a chill run down her spine. She knew that humans did not seek conquest or war for the sake of destruction. Their power was not rooted in cruelty. It was rooted in survival, in protection, in the refusal to bow to threats. And the galaxy was about to learn in the most dramatic way that humanity was far stronger than any legend or rumor could describe. Above Earth, the planet gleamed like a jewel. The oceans sparkled, the continents glowed under the sun, and life moved quietly on its surface. But below, in bunkers, command centers, and hidden bases, humans prepared. The calm, measured, and silent movements of a species ready to awaken would soon ripple across the galaxy. And when that ripple reached the stars, no one would mistake it for ordinary. The first warning had arrived. The galaxy was listening now, and it would soon understand that Earth's silence was not emptiness, it was power waiting to be revealed. The galaxy was tense. Every ship, every fleet, every council member waited for a sign of what humans might do. The silence of Earth had grown into a shadow over the stars, a quiet warning that nobody could ignore. And then, without any announcement or declaration, it happened. It began at the edge of the Orion sector, where a group of alien warships had been patrolling near what they thought were abandoned human territories. These ships had always mocked humanity's defenses, confident that the humans could not reach them across such vast distances. They did not know that the galaxy had underestimated the wrong species. Without warning, one of the alien patrol ships disappeared. There was no explosion, no visible attack. One moment, it floated in the void. The next, it vanished. Sensors went dead, communication channels went silent, and panic rippled through the rest of the fleet. Captain Aria Vance watched the readings on her console, her breath caught in her chest. She had seen human strategy before, but never like this. The humans did not attack blindly. They did not charge or fire indiscriminately. They struck with intelligence, patience, and precision, choosing only targets that were already threatening or arrogant enough to approach human space. The next day, a cargo fleet carrying supplies to the outer systems suffered a similar fate. Its ships were surrounded, immobilized, and then removed from existence so cleanly that it seemed almost impossible. Aliens who had laughed at humanity's supposed weakness now whispered in fear. The humans had revealed their power without even stepping out of the shadows. In the Galactic Council chambers, chaos erupted. Leaders shouted, demanded answers, and sent fleets toward Earth. But every attempt to locate the source failed. Human fleets moved like ghosts, appearing only when they wanted, striking only those who had drawn too close and disappearing before anyone could respond. It was as though the humans were everywhere and nowhere at once. Back on Earth, in hidden command centers beneath the cities, human leaders monitored every move. They did not celebrate their victories. Their focus was calm, precise, and unbroken. Humanity's power, they knew, was not in showing force for the sake of pride. It was in protecting themselves and teaching the galaxy a lesson that could not be ignored. Aria remembered Commander Elias Terran's words. "We fight not because we want to, but because we must. The galaxy will understand us in time, or it will regret not understanding." Watching the alien patrols falter, Aria finally understood the depth of that statement. Humans were not vengeful. They were patient, disciplined, and unforgiving when pushed. Meanwhile, news of these disappearances began to spread across the galaxy. Traders, explorers, and diplomats carried the stories from system to system. Humans had struck without warning, without cruelty, without malice. Yet the message was clear. Do not underestimate them. Every fleet that had once sneered at humanity now hesitated, questioning whether their arrogance had been their greatest mistake. On the surface of Earth, life seemed unchanged. Children still played, families still laughed, and cities hummed with normal activity. But beneath this ordinary exterior, humans moved with synchronization and purpose. Engineers repaired ships, soldiers trained relentlessly, and scientists analyzed every possible scenario. The first strike was only a warning. It was not the beginning of a war. It was a lesson in patience, strength, and unity. Captain Arya felt a mixture of awe and fear. She had seen humans fight before, but never on this scale. It was not just the power of their ships or weapons. It was the precision, the timing, and the emotional strength behind every decision. Humans did not act rashly. They calculated, they waited, and they struck when the moment demanded perfection. And in that moment, they were unstoppable. Alien commanders scrambled to respond. They sent fleets to intercept human ships, but every attempt failed. Humans seemed to know their movements before they even began. It was not magic or luck. It was strategy, intelligence, and a will so strong it became a force in itself. Meanwhile, Earth's silence remained intact. The humans did not gloat or announce victory. They allowed the galaxy to realize the consequences of their arrogance on its own. The calm, patient silence of humanity had become their greatest weapon. Every lost ship, every sudden disappearance, was a reminder. Humans would not be ignored, underestimated, or disrespected. As news of the first strike reached other systems, the fear spread like wildfire. Civilizations that had once treated Earth as insignificant began to reconsider. Diplomats changed their tone. Commanders reinforced their fleets. Traders slowed their journeys. Every corner of the galaxy felt the ripple of humanity's quiet power. Captain Arya stood on the bridge of her ship, gazing at the stars. She knew that the first strike was not revenge or aggression. It was revelation. Humanity had shown the galaxy what it was capable of without raising a single weapon unnecessarily. It was not destruction for its own sake. It was proof that humans, united, could face any threat and survive. And yet Arya understood that this was only the beginning. The galaxy had received a warning, a signal in silence and precision. Earth would no longer be ignored. And when humanity finally decided to reveal its full strength, the stars themselves would tremble. For now, the first strike had done its work. Fear and respect spread together across the galaxy, and the message was clear. Underestimate humanity at your peril. The calm of Earth remained. Its surface betrayed nothing, and above it, in the darkness of space, humans waited, patient and silent, ready to awaken the galaxy to their true power. The galaxy had begun to change. Fear was spreading faster than any weapon. Ships that once sailed boldly through space now hesitated near the edges of human territory. Diplomats who had once laughed at Earth's primitive technology now approached cautiously, their voices quiet, their movements careful. Humanity had acted without anger, without cruelty, yet their power had left an impression no one could ignore. On Earth, life appeared calm and normal. Streets were full of people, children ran in playgrounds, and the sun shone on bustling cities. Yet beneath the ordinary surface, the emotional weight of the first strike rested heavily on humanity. Every decision had consequences. Every movement had meaning. The people of Earth felt the weight of the galaxy's gaze, knowing that one misstep could trigger fear or war. Mothers whispered to their children in hidden bunkers beneath city streets. Fathers shared stories of survival, teaching the young about courage, unity, and patience. These were lessons not written in books or taught in schools, but learned in the heart of every human. Humanity's true power was not in weapons or ships. It was in the bond between people, the will to survive, and the love for home, family, and future generations. Captain Arya Vance had seen the human fleet in action, but she had never fully understood the emotional depth behind it. She now realized that the calm determination of the humans was fueled by more than strategy. It was fueled by care. Every strike, every maneuver, every silent observation of alien movements came from a desire to protect, not conquer. Humans did not fight because they wanted power. They fought because they could not allow their world, their families, or their way of life to be threatened. News of the first strike had reached the farthest corners of the galaxy. Alien fleets were shaken, traders whispered in fear, and councils convened urgently to discuss humanity. Yet even as fear spread, admiration grew quietly alongside it. Humans had shown. The galaxy had never seen a silence like this. Across the stars, whispers spread from one planet to another. Humanity had gone quiet. Earth, once alive with radio signals, commerce, and exploration fleets, now seemed to vanish from the eyes of every alien outpost. For centuries, humans had been underestimated, a species small, fragile, and young compared to ancient civilizations that had ruled the stars. Yet now, something had changed. The galaxy felt it, though no one could name it. Captain Arya Vance stood on the bridge of the Endurance, one of the few alien ships allowed near human space under special alliance agreements. Her eyes swept across the dark void, dotted with distant suns. There was a strange emptiness here, a silence that pressed against her mind. For the first time in her life, Arya feared what humanity could do when it chose to be still. She remembered the last time she had fought alongside human forces. The odds had been impossible. The enemy fleet outnumbered them 10-1, their weapons far superior, their tactics ruthless. Yet humanity had adapted. They had faced disaster with courage, turning desperation into strategy. Ships that seemed fragile and old suddenly performed maneuvers that no alien fleet could predict. Arya still shivered when she recalled the way humans had pulled victory from the jaws of annihilation, and now, silence. The galaxy assumed silence meant weakness. It assumed humanity had fallen. But Arya did not believe it. She had seen what humans were capable of, and silence, she knew, could be more terrifying than the roar of warships. Across the void, alien fleets began to shift nervously. Scouts reported nothing but empty space where human settlements and patrol routes had been. The Great Council of Ao, interstellar species debated endlessly. Perhaps Earth suffered a catastrophe, one ambassador said, his antennae quivering. Maybe a supernova, or a disease, another suggested, though their faces betrayed disbelief. The truth was far stranger and far more dangerous. Humanity was preparing, and the galaxy did not even know it. On the surface of Earth, life continued quietly. Cities were calm, streets were filled with people, and children laughed in the sunlight. But beneath the surface, in hidden bunkers and underground command centers, humans moved with precision and purpose. Scientists, soldiers, engineers, and ordinary citizens worked together, connected in a way no alien species could understand. Every action had meaning. Every preparation was calculated. They were ready for what was coming, though no one outside their world could yet see it. Arya thought of Commander Elias Terran, the leader of the Terran Defense Fleet. He had once told her, "The galaxy measures power in numbers and weapons. Humans measure power in heart, and heart is infinite." At the time, she had admired the statement as poetic. Now she understood it as a warning. Humanity's strength was not in their fleets alone, nor in their technology, though both were formidable. Their strength came from unity, from determination, and from the will to endure when all hope seemed lost. Even as Arya watched from orbit, Earth remained quiet. Satellites blinked in silent patterns, but no signals reached the stars. Alien spies eager for conquest found nothing. Smugglers seeking profit detected only static. Diplomats who hoped to negotiate treaties could not find a single human representative willing to answer. It was as if Earth had become a ghost, waiting in patience, hiding its fire until the right moment. And the galaxy was not ready for that fire. Rumors began to spread in the outer systems. Traders spoke in hushed tones about fleets vanishing near the human sphere. Scientists recorded unexplained gravitational anomalies. Every report increased tension. The more the galaxy tried to understand humanity, the less it could predict them. Every assumption they had about this species proved wrong. Every calculation failed. Humans were no longer small, weak, or predictable. They were a force that could not be measured, only respected or feared. Arya could feel it in her bones. Something was about to happen. Something that would make every alien fleet, every council chamber, every merchant and soldier understand that humans were not what they seemed. Earth's silence had been a warning the galaxy refused to hear. And soon, when the warning became action, no one would doubt humanity's power again. In the quiet of her cabin, Arya allowed herself a moment to reflect. She thought of the young children she had met on Earth, laughing without care. She thought of the elderly who had survived wars, plagues, and disasters, yet still held hope for the future. She thought of the scientists who had unlocked secrets of space faster than anyone else, and the pilots who could maneuver through asteroid fields with skill that defied reason. Humans were fragile yet unbreakable, ordinary yet extraordinary, and the galaxy had taken them lightly, until now. Far above the planet, the stars shone like distant eyes, watching Earth with curiosity and caution. The humans below would not rise to conquer, nor would they strike without cause. They would act when the time was right with precision, strategy, and force enough to make even the oldest civilizations pause. And when they did, the galaxy would learn a lesson it would never forget. Underestimating humanity was the gravest mistake any species could make. Captain Arya Vance exhaled slowly, staring down at the blue and green marble of Earth. In its silence lay the promise of storms the galaxy could not imagine, of a strength born not only of arms but of heart, and she knew one thing for certain. Whatever came next, humanity would emerge not just alive but victorious, and the galaxy would never forget it. The calm before the storm had arrived, and from that silence, humanity's power would awaken, and the galaxy was restless. Whispers had turned into murmurs, and murmurs into unease. Reports began to filter in from the far reaches of space. Ships that had ventured near human territory vanished without a trace. Scouts sent to map the edges of the solar system returned empty-handed, their data corrupted or missing entirely. Nothing explained Earth's silence. Every system was on edge, waiting, wondering what the humans were hiding or preparing. Adim 1. The Galactic Council debates grew heated. Ambassadors shouted across the chamber, their voices echoing through the grand halls of the council station. "It must be a disaster," one cried, "a planetary collapse, a natural catastrophe." Another shook his head, disbelief written all over his features. No species could simply vanish overnight. Something else is happening, something deliberate. No one had the answer. And the longer Earth remained quiet, the more fear spread. The silence itself became a weapon, a shadow creeping across the minds of alien leaders. They had faced powerful empires before, species that commanded fleets of thousands, whose weapons could devastate planets. But none had moved in the way humanity had. Humans were silent. Humans were patient. And patience, in the wrong hands, could be terrifying. On the edges of the solar system, Captain Arya Vance observed the patterns. Even from this distance, it was clear something was happening on Earth. Communications were minimal, but carefully monitored activity revealed a hidden network of underground bases, advanced energy grids, and fleets ready to deploy at a moment's notice. Humans were not idle. They were preparing. Arya remembered the first time she had seen humans in battle. She had thought their courage remarkable. Now she realized that courage alone was only part of the truth. What set them apart was their intelligence, their patience, and their ability to unite under a single purpose. While the rest of the galaxy panicked over their silence, humans had already predicted it and planned accordingly. Scouts and spies had tried to map the Terran fleet, but the humans were ghosts. Ships appeared for a brief moment near the edges of known space, struck with precision, and vanished again. No one could track them. No one could intercept them. The galaxy began to suspect the impossible. Humans were everywhere and nowhere at the same time. Meanwhile, back on Earth, life seemed normal to the casual observer. Children played in parks, markets bustled with trade, and commuters went about their daily lives. But beneath this ordinary life, humans moved with precision. Scientists worked around the clock in hidden labs. Engineers built vehicles faster than any alien fleet could predict, and commanders trained soldiers who could adapt to any situation. Humanity had always survived against impossible odds, and now they prepared to survive the galaxy itself. At the same time, fear began to ripple through alien societies. Trade routes slowed, fleets hesitated, and leaders who had once scoffed at humanity now reconsidered. "Are we ready for this species?" one council member asked quietly. "We do not even understand them. They fight differently. They survive differently. And now, they disappear when we need to know where they are." Arya watched as alien commanders issued orders to reinforce positions near human space, yet nothing changed. The humans stayed hidden, silent, patient. And that silence was far more powerful than any fleet or weapon the galaxy could muster. It was a message: underestimate us at your peril. In her private quarters, Arya reflected on the humans she had known personally. She thought of Elias Terran, who had led his fleet through impossible battles with nothing but courage and strategy. She thought of young cadets who had faced enemy fire without flinching, and scientists who had outsmarted every trap the galaxy had set before them. The strength of humanity, she realized, was not in their ships or technology. It was in their hearts. The galaxy that power was not only measured in numbers or firepower, but in resilience, patience, and the ability to act with purpose when the moment demanded it. Inside hidden command centers beneath Earth's surface, humans monitored the galaxy's reactions. They did not celebrate or boast. They simply observed, calm and focused, prepared for what might come next. Every fleet that vanished, every patrol that faltered served as a reminder to the galaxy. Humanity had learned, adapted, and grown stronger with each challenge. Captain Arya Vance thought of the young children she had met during her time on Earth. Some had been no older than 10, yet they had faced drills and exercises that would challenge even seasoned soldiers. They had learned courage, discipline, and hope. It was not fear that drove humanity's power, but love. Love for their home, for each other, and for the world they refused to let anyone destroy. Even alien observers began to notice the human way of life. Humans were not chaotic or reckless. They worked together, shared knowledge, and protected the weak. They did not need threats or punishment to maintain order. They were disciplined, united, and deeply connected. This emotional strength, invisible to most, had become humanity's most formidable weapon. Arya watched as fleets across the galaxy hesitated near human-controlled space. Even small mistakes could draw a swift and precise response from Earth's hidden forces. The galaxy began to understand something it had never realized before. Humans did not rely solely on technology or brute force. They relied on willpower, unity, and the determination to endure against impossible odds. In the quiet of Earth's command centers, humans felt the weight of responsibility. They knew that the first strike had sent a message, but they also knew that the galaxy would not stop observing them. Every action, every decision, carried emotional and political consequences. The people of Earth had accepted this burden with calm courage. They had chosen silence as their shield and patience as their weapon. For Captain Arya, the emotional toll was profound. She had served alongside many species in the galaxy, but she had never encountered a power so quietly terrifying. Humans were not loud or boastful. They did not demand respect. They earned it with every heartbeat, every calculated move, and every act of care for their world. Their silence was a message, and their resolve was unshakable. Even as fear spread across the stars, the humans on Earth remained focused. Families gathered in homes, soldiers trained tirelessly, scientists worked without pause. The ordinary rhythm of life continued, but beneath it flowed the extraordinary strength of a species united by love, purpose, and resilience. The emotional power of humanity was now as important as its technological might. As the galaxy watched, slowly understanding the depth of humanity's resolve, Captain Arya realized the truth. The first strike had been only a small demonstration of power. The real strength of humans lay in their hearts, in the invisible bonds that connected them to one another, and in the way they would never allow themselves or their home to be defeated. And in that realization, she understood the danger and the hope that humanity represented. The galaxy feared them, yes, but it also could not help admiring them. Humans had shown that strength was not only about warships and weapons, it was about love, unity, and the courage to endure against impossible odds. Earth's silence had become a symbol, a quiet force felt across the stars. The first strike was over, but the emotional echo of humanity's power had only begun. And soon, the galaxy would learn that humanity's true strength was far more than it had ever imagined. The Galactic Council had grown desperate. Fear and confusion filled the grand halls as leaders argued over what to do. The humans had struck with precision and vanished. Entire fleets had disappeared without warning, and alien commanders could not predict the next move. Nothing in the galaxy had prepared them for this. "Send a delegation," one ambassador demanded, his voice trembling. "We must speak to them. We cannot allow this uncertainty to continue." Others agreed reluctantly, knowing the risk. Approaching Earth was dangerous. No one could know what humans would do if provoked, but the Council had no choice. Silence could not last forever. A small fleet of the most trusted ships was assembled. They carried diplomats, scholars, and translators, chosen for their ability to negotiate with unknown species. Captain Arya Vance watched them depart, her heart heavy. She knew the humans had already anticipated this move. Earth's silence had not been idle. It had been calculated, patient, and deliberate. On the surface, humanity waited. Leaders gathered in hidden command centers, their faces calm and serious. They monitored the approaching fleet, their sensors analyzing every ship, every movement. The humans were prepared, but they did not seek war. Their goal was understanding, not destruction. They would teach the galaxy a lesson, but one grounded in respect, not cruelty. When the delegation arrived in orbit above Earth, the first surprise awaited them. No human warships confronted them. No alarms blared. Instead, a single transmission reached their ships, a calm voice speaking in perfect galactic standard. "You have come seeking answers," the message said. "Know this. We do not wish for conflict, we do not seek conquest, but we will defend ourselves, our home, and our people. The galaxy must learn to understand us, not fear us, and you will listen." The Council fleet hesitated. The voice was firm, but not threatening. There was power in it, yes, but also wisdom. It was a message that carried the weight of humanity itself, disciplined, patient, and unyielding. Inside the council chamber, leaders murmured. Some were angry, others were awed. They realized for the first time that humans did not measure power in destruction alone. Humans measured power in resilience, in unity, and in the courage to act when necessary. The first strike had been a warning, but this message revealed their intelligence and moral strength. Captain Arya thought of Commander Elias Terran, who had once told her, "The galaxy does not understand humans because it fears their hearts, more than their weapons." Now she saw the truth. Humans had sent a fleet, struck with unmatched precision, and remained calm. They had chosen silence not because they were weak, but because they were strong. Strong enough to wait, strong enough to teach, and strong enough to show mercy. The delegation listened as another human transmission followed. Images of families, schools, and ordinary life on Earth were shown, interspersed with scenes of their fleets in training and scientists at work. The message was clear. Humans were not mindless conquerors. They were guardians of their home, connected by a bond no alien could fully understand. The galaxy began to realize that this was the source of humanity's true power. Its unity and emotional strength, combined with intelligence and discipline. Captain Arya felt a mixture of awe and relief. She had seen humans in battle before, but now she understood the depth of their strength. It was not just physical, it was emotional, moral, and strategic all at once. Humans had prepared, predicted, and acted without malice. Their first strike had been precise, their communication deliberate, and their silence calculated. And now, the galaxy was beginning to see them as they truly were. The Council delegation sent a response, attempting diplomacy. "We wish to establish peace. We wish to understand your people," they said. But the humans' reply was not a simple agreement. It was a lesson. "You will understand us," the humans said. "Not because we demand it, but because the galaxy must recognize the value of unity, courage, and the protection of life. Our silence has been a warning. Our patience has been a lesson. We do not seek to conquer, but we will not be ignored. Humanity's power is measured not in fear, but in the will to endure, and the love we hold for each other and our world." Across the stars, the message spread. Fear began to shift into admiration. Leaders who had once underestimated humanity now realized the depth of their strength. Traders, explorers, and scholars spoke of the humans' intelligence and emotional resilience. The first strike had impressed them, but this communication revealed the moral foundation that made humans truly formidable. On Earth, families continued their daily lives. Children laughed, parents worked, and cities thrived. But beneath this ordinary exterior, humans remained vigilant. They had demonstrated power, intelligence, and restraint. They had shown the galaxy that they were not a species to be reckoned with lightly, and they had done it with patience, calm, and clarity that few other species could match. Captain Arya Vance stood in orbit, staring down at the blue and green planet. She understood now why humans had waited. Their first strike was only the beginning. Their silence had been deliberate, their patience had been a weapon, and their communication had begun the turning point. The galaxy would no longer underestimate humanity. For the first time, many realized that the humans' strength was not just in their fleets or their technology. It was in their unity, their hearts, and their unshakable will. Earth had sent a warning. The galaxy had listened, and from this moment forward, everything would be different. The turning point had arrived. The humans had revealed not just their power, but the reason for it, and the galaxy would never forget it. The galaxy had begun to change. Where once there was arrogance, now there was caution. Where once there was laughter at humanity's supposed weakness, now there was hesitation. Traders altered their routes. Fleets paused near human space, and ambassadors approached Earth with renewed respect. The first strike had taught fear. The message to the Council had taught understanding. Now the galaxy was learning the most important lesson. Humanity deserved respect. Captain Arya Vance watched from orbit as communication signals from distant fleets slowed to a cautious trickle. It was as if the entire galaxy had collectively held its breath. Every species, from the oldest and most powerful to the smallest and most vulnerable, had begun to grasp the truth. Humans were not a threat born from cruelty, but a force born from resilience, unity, and intelligence. And that force was impossible to ignore. Across the systems, stories of humanity spread. Traders spoke of fleets vanishing without a trace, but always with precision and purpose. Diplomats recounted messages from Earth that were calm, wise, and unyielding. Scientists marveled at the ingenuity hidden beneath Earth's ordinary exterior. Slowly, admiration began to replace fear, though both emotions coexisted, tangled together, like the stars themselves. On Earth, life moved quietly above the surface. Families shared meals, children played, and cities thrived. Yet underground, in command centers and hidden facilities, humans continued their preparation. They were not satisfied with a single demonstration of power. They knew the galaxy's understanding was only beginning. Their patience, discipline, and unity were still their greatest strengths, and they would use them when the time demanded. Captain Arya thought about the alien fleets that had once mocked Earth's capabilities. Some had been arrogant, believing humans were primitive and weak. Now they hesitated, unsure of how to respond to a species that had already shown unmatched precision, intelligence, and patience. Humanity's true power lay not only in their fleets or technology, but in their ability to combine strategy with moral strength, courage with restraint, and patience with unwavering determination. The Galactic Council convened again, this time, in a mood more respectful than panicked. Leaders who had once dismissed humanity now spoke cautiously. "We must treat them with care," one ambassador said. "We cannot risk underestimating a species that measures power in patience and unity." Others nodded in agreement. The first strike, and the measured response afterward, had forced the galaxy to rethink everything it thought it knew about humans. Meanwhile, news of Earth's actions reached even the most distant systems. A small colony on the outskirts of explored space reported that a human fleet had appeared briefly, ensuring a pirate convoy could not raid a civilian transport. The humans acted not out of anger, not out of pride, but out of responsibility. Every act of humanity's power carried a moral lesson. They would protect, they would endure, and they would act when justice demanded it. Captain Arya felt a deep respect for the humans she had fought alongside. Their courage was unmatched, but now she understood the depth of their discipline. Humans did not rush into conflict. They did not act without thought. They combined emotion, intelligence, and experience into something far greater than any single weapon could achieve. They were strong, yes, but their strength was guided by wisdom and unity, making them nearly impossible to defeat. Across the galaxy, even those who had feared humanity began to speak of them differently. Rumors of cruelty were replaced with stories of fairness and honor. Every fleet that had once thought of Earth as an easy target now approached cautiously. Every species began to understand that the humans' first strike had been a lesson, their silence a shield, and their patience a weapon far more powerful than any conventional fleet. On Earth, ordinary citizens felt the weight of their role. They went about their daily lives, but every child, every teacher, every scientist, and every soldier understood that their actions mattered, not just for survival, but for the lesson they were sending to the galaxy. Humanity's power was a reflection of their hearts, their unity, and their willingness to endure against impossible odds. Captain Arya watched as fleets from multiple systems adjusted their movements, slowly retreating from human space to reassess. Even the oldest and most experienced commanders hesitated, knowing that any miscalculation could bring them into direct conflict with a species whose patience and precision were unmatched. Humans had taught the galaxy to respect them, and that respect was more powerful than any fear. As night fell across Earth, cities glowed like constellations mirrored on the planet's surface. Below the streets, humans continued to prepare quietly, ensuring that their unity and resilience would remain unbroken. They had shown the galaxy a glimpse of their power, and the response was clear. Humanity would no longer be underestimated. Captain Arya felt a mixture of awe and hope. The galaxy had begun to awaken to the truth. Humans were more than fighters or survivors. They were a symbol of strength, unity, and moral courage. Their actions had shifted the balance, not through violence alone, but through intelligence, patience, and emotional resilience. The awakening of respect was complete. Fear remained, yes, but it was tempered with admiration. The galaxy had finally begun to understand that Earth's silence, patience, and careful strikes were not signs of weakness. They were signs of a species whose strength went far beyond weapons and fleets. Humanity had become a force to be reckoned with, not through conquest, but through the demonstration of unity, wisdom, and heart. And somewhere, deep within the command centers beneath Earth's surface, humans continued to watch, prepare, and wait. They knew the galaxy's respect was just the beginning. Their power, patience, and emotional resilience would be revealed fully when the time came. And when that time arrived, the galaxy would remember it forever. For now, the lesson was clear. The galaxy had awakened to the truth. Humans were not merely survivors, they were guardians, strategists, and hearts united by courage and love. and the respect earned today would shape the stars for generations to come. The galaxy held its breath. For weeks, systems had whispered about the humans. Fleets had paused, diplomats had debated, and even the oldest civilizations had reconsidered their assumptions. Earth's silence, once underestimated, had become the loudest voice in the galaxy. A warning, a lesson, and a promise all at once. Captain Arya Vance watched from orbit as the sun rose over the planet's surface. The oceans shimmered, forests glowed, and cities began their daily rhythm. Life appeared ordinary. Children played, workers walked to their jobs, and the pulse of humanity beat steadily beneath the calm exterior. Yet beneath that ordinary life flowed extraordinary strength, a unity that no alien species could hope to match. For the first time, the Galactic Council had sent a message asking for an audience. They wanted dialogue, negotiation, understanding. Ships carrying diplomats approached cautiously, shields up, engines ready. The humans did not meet them with weapons. They met them with presence, precision, and quiet dignity. The galaxy was about to see the full measure of humanity, not in destruction but in strength, unity, and moral courage. Commander Elias Terran stood in a vast chamber deep beneath Earth's surface. Around him were the leaders of the Terran Defense Fleet, scientists, diplomats, and strategists. Everyone worked in harmony, each understanding their part in this pivotal moment. Terran raised his hand, signaling the fleet's communication systems. 2 open channels. Every alien ship in orbit could see and hear. Every diplomat could observe. "We have waited," Terran began, his voice calm but commanding. "We have prepared. We have acted with precision when necessary, and we have watched," the galaxy responded. "Now the time has come to show not just our strength but our unity, our hearts, and our purpose." On the council ships, alien leaders exchanged nervous glances. They had witnessed humans strike fleets with impossible precision. They had seen Earth's silence stretch across systems, and they had felt the fear of underestimating a species that refused to announce itself until it was ready. And yet they were unprepared for the humanity now revealed. Not a force of destruction, but a force of resolve, courage, and care. Images appeared on the view screens. Humans working together, training in harmony, scientists sharing knowledge, and citizens helping one another. The message was clear. Humanity's power was not just in its weapons, ships, or technology. It was in the unity, intelligence, and emotional strength of its people. Captain Arya Vance felt tears prick at the edges of her eyes. She had fought alongside humans before, but this was different. This was not just a demonstration of military might. It was the unveiling of a species whose courage, heart, and determination made it unstoppable. Humans were fragile, yes, but they were also extraordinary. Ordinary lives contained extraordinary hearts, and that was the true force the galaxy now witnessed. The Galactic Council responded cautiously. "We acknowledge your power," one ambassador said. "We see your patience, your unity, and your resolve. We understand that humanity cannot be underestimated." Their tone was respectful, almost reverent. After centuries of misunderstanding, the galaxy finally understood. Humans were not just survivors, they were guardians, leaders, and a